Hello everyone, thank you for having me. Welcome to this presentation. This is Online Behavioral Addiction, Longitudinal Network Analysis, and my name is Daniel Zarate. The last 20 years saw a shift in how we understand and think about addiction, incorporating the idea that addictive behaviors can be identified in relation to seemingly enjoyable activities and not only the use of substances. Particularly, scholars suggest that both substance addictions and behavioral addictions respond to similar drives or needs in individuals influenced by internal and external factors precipitating similar neurological processes. Previous research proposed that all addictions have common components indicating the existence of problematic behaviors, including excessive preoccupation with the behavior or activity, engaging in the behavior or activity to change the mood state, inability to fulfill daily obligations due to excessive engagement with the behavior or activity, increased engagement with the behavior or activity to obtain the same level of satisfaction, return to the behavior or activity after a period of control use, and finally, irritability in the absence of the behavior or activity. It's been theorized that behavioral addictions can include a diverse range of behaviors such as excessive online gambling, problematic internet use, disordered online gaming, and problematic social media use, among others. Additionally, researchers propose that gender differences may exist, suggesting that different patterns of problematic behaviors may be observed in men and women, with men being more likely to experience problems associated with disordered gaming and women with problematic social media use. Nonetheless, considering the current debate in the field warning that an emphasis on addiction could lead researchers to overpathologize everyday activities, many of these problematic behaviors had not been formally recognized by diagnostic manuals such as the DSM or the ICD. A body of research suggests that addictions tend to co-occur rather than present in isolation, with the comorbid presence of problematic behaviors increasing the likelihood of further developing problems in two important ways. Firstly, common elements may facilitate a cycle of reciprocity, exacerbating the risk of transitioning from one addictive behavior to another. For example, one abuses social media while progressively developing disordered gaming behaviors. Secondly, individuals may seek gratification through alternative addictive behaviors while aiming to disengage from a previously established addiction. Interestingly, evidence suggests that an online medium may increase the likelihood of experiencing comorbid presentations that lend themselves to be expressed via online environments. In this context, there is vast evidence examining interrelations between different forms of addiction, and this has been produced via correlational analysis, logistic regressions, chi-squares, and structural equation modeling, among other methods. However, these methods place emphasis on commonalities across different forms of problematic behaviors at the construct level. In other words, these methods view problematic behaviors as syndromes inclusive of various symptoms rather than examining how distinct symptoms of different addictions may link with each other. For example, how preoccupation with gaming may relate with alcohol withdrawal. Additionally, this method may provide limited insight into the relative importance of certain problematic behaviors compared to others. For example, whether mood modification is more central or important compared to relapse and interpersonal conflicts for the diagnosis of pathological gambling. Finally, most evidence assess the possibility of comorbid presentations using cross-sectional samples. Considering the possibility of causal relationships between different presentations, longitudinal studies are imperative. And these notions can be addressed with a network analysis approach. Firstly, rather than emphasizing interrelations at the construct level, Network analysis evaluates relationship between psychopathology symptoms. For example, gaming preoccupation, gaming tolerance, and gaming withdrawal. Thus, rather than only evaluating comorbidity between constructs, network analysis allows the examination of comorbidity of symptoms within and across disorders. Secondly, network analysis provides centrality indices to assess if certain symptoms are more influential in the network structure. For example, understanding the influence of a particular form of addiction and how that may vary across its symptoms could provide crucial knowledge for addressing addictive comorbidities and substitution of problematic behaviors. Therefore, based on the information discussed so far, we want to answer three research questions. Firstly, what is the network structure of online behavioral addictions, including online gambling, internet use, internet gaming, and social media use? Secondly, which symptoms of such problematic behaviors are more central or influential in the maintenance and development of new problematic behaviors? And finally, we wanted to know if there were any gender differences. And now we move on to the methods section. After getting ethics approval, participants were recruited and completed online questionnaires on two occasions 1 year apart. The sample consisted of 462 adult English speakers with a mean age of 30.8 years old. 69% of the sample were men, 28% were women, and 2% non-binary. The first wave of data was collected between November and December 2020, and the second wave between November and December 2021. All instruments used to assess problematic behaviors in this study have been extensively used in research and have shown robust psychometric properties. To investigate the interrelation between symptoms of addictive behaviors, we used a lasso regularized regression and 1000 non-parametric bootstrapped resampling. This included 70 symptoms of 4 forms of online addictive behaviors at 2 time points, including disordered internet use, problematic online gaming, disordered social media use, and problematic online gambling. Here we see the network of problematic behaviors with symptoms or nodes indicated by the circles. And the relationship between symptoms or edges are indicated by the blue and red lines, with thicker lines indicating stronger relationship, blue lines indicating positive relationships, and red lines indicating negative relationships. Here we see a plot of centrality indices to assess which symptoms were more influential in this network. Central or influential symptoms included interpersonal conflict due to gambling, using internet to modify one's mood, tolerance to social media use, and inability to control gaming habits. We also wanted to know which symptoms would influence the development of further problems in the future. And to do this, we look at the frequency and strength of relationships between symptoms at time point 1 compared to time point 2. As seen here, the most influential symptom was loss of interest in other activities due to excessive gaming. And the symptom most likely to cause further problems in the future was using internet to modify one's mood. Interestingly, there were differences between men and women in relation to problematic symptoms, where men were more likely to experience further problems due to using the internet to modify one's mood, and women would experience future problems due to using deception to lie about gambling activities. We also wanted to assess which disorders would be more likely to cause future problems, but at the disorder level. And as we see here, problematic social media use would cause future problems with problematic social media use. But interestingly, excessive internet use will likely create online gambling problems and online gaming problems. So here we have some important implications to the note reflecting all the results we presented so far. Firstly, There were strong relationships between symptoms within the same disorders, and this is in line with many previous studies reinforcing the idea that each presentation has uniquely distinct elements differentiating all forms of addictions or problematic behaviors. And this perhaps should be conceptualized as different sets of addictions that may not necessarily be allocated under one umbrella diagnostic. Secondly, mood modification related to online gambling and disordered internet use were the most influential. In other words, these symptoms are connected more frequently and more strongly with other presentations of addictive behaviors and may be seen as risk factors for increasing the negative impact of future symptomatology. And finally, there were gender differences observed here, where men were more likely to experience future problems due to excessive internet use, and women were more likely to experience problems related to disordered online gambling. And with that, we conclude this presentation. Thank you for listening. Here are our details, and you can also see a link to our paper.